This is Chris, and I'll be your host today. Today, we're going to be going over call response service logs. It's going to be how to log a call response service log, how to keep track of them, how to organize them, and also how to charge and invoice your customers for services provided. On the chat today, we're going to have Tyler answering questions. So, if you have any questions during the presentation, feel free to ask him in the chat. Otherwise, we're going to host our usual Q&A session at the end. All right, we'll just jump right into it. So, call response service logs, those are going to be used for things like providing maintenance to your service contracts primarily, but they can be used for any sort of task relating to your customer. What we'll do is we'll go over to FSM and call response service right here. This will be a quick organization of all the existing call responses or call response logs open right now. Create a new one. We'll just go to new record up here and CRS log. And this will be the standard window to find the company you're looking for. The company with the contract, I should say here. I'll use the Tyler D's Incorporated right here. And per usual, you can of course pick the particular location, contact, and put in a reference as well. So this is the CRS log right here. The first thing I would recommend doing is using the double arrow button over on the far right. That will go ahead and link all of the service contracts related to this company. And from here, we can just go ahead and swap to this contract. So now the CRS log is linked to the service contract. So that's what you would do if you were providing service service on the service contract. But if you can, of course, leave this blank for any other miscellaneous tasks or logs you want to keep track of. So over here in information, you're going to put general details about this this request, this log, what the customer has the issue with, as well as the alert info right here is going to be just a blank text box for use. Usually for things like if this is an urgent request or if this customer needs like just a standard 8-hour response, anything like that. You have the alert date and time up here at the top. It's going to go ahead and default to today's date and time. But let's say if you wanted the standard 8-hour response, we can just move this alert time to the due date, which is 8 hours ahead. Then over here on the far left, you have a bunch of filters that you can use to help categorize and organize this log here. Things like group codes, log type, of course, a customer reference, service profile, all that kind of stuff, as well as the engineer that is assigned to work on this this service request here. Most of these dropdowns have an add item feature, so you can continuously add items to the list here. Otherwise, things like service profile, I believe, are going to be needed to, you can add those in admin. So that's the top area here. We have a couple extra tabs down here at the bottom. The important ones are going to be the log information is going to go ahead and pull or show some extra information on this log, as well as the serial number and manufacturer serial number of the item on the service contract, and that'll go ahead and pull from the service contract that we link using this button up here. You also have interim fixes right here. This is a great way to keep track of what tasks have been performed for this job so far. So something like if you got a printer, you can see tried rebooting. This is an easy way to keep track of the tasks that have been done so far. So other engineers can take a look at this log and see what's been tried and what needs to be tried next, things like that. And then I'll just keep just a quick log right here. Otherwise, this readings tab right here is just going to be a quick list of all the meter readings. That's about it for this tab right here. So if you need to charge the customer for the service or any replacement parts, that's going to be up here in this parts and charges tab up top. So this first top area right here is going to be changing the invoice description for this service log should you want to charge the customer, as well as the base invoice value up here. This is going to be something like just like a flat service fee, or like a $15 fee just for the engineer to come out. Anything like that, we can put up here in this base invoice value. And then in addition to that, we have parts, engineer charge, and the miscellaneous charge. So if we take a look at parts over here, we can add a replacement part or any other parts needed to perform the job. So this is just a general product search. You can put any product in here, as well as you can select the engineer that performed the task. And then you have your usual, edit the invoice description, your quantity, your cost and your sell price, things like that. Then over here on the far right, you have chargeable part and invoice separately. So this chargeable part tick mark right here is going to indicate that this part is going to be charged to the customer. If you leave this unticked, the customer will not receive an invoice for it. But say you do want to charge the customer for it, it's going to go ahead and pull in the sell price that you have set right here. As well as invoice separately. If you do decide to charge the customer, you can decide whether or not you want this this part to be on its own invoice, or if you leave it unticked, it'll just go on to the next billing cycle for the service contract. And then over here, you have the delivery options. Own van right here is going to be for if the engineer had this part on hand. You don't need to order it; they had it in the van when they were at the destination. That'll be this part right here, and we'll go ahead and take the quantity out of out of your stock. It'll allocate directly from stock. Standard delivery is just going to be if you need to order this part and ship it to yourself. And of course, dropship will ship this item directly to the customer. And then choosing standard or dropship will go ahead and put this item on the requirements list, so you can go ahead and purchase it. But I'll put an item on here right now. Add that on there. So in addition to parts, you have the engineer charge right here. That's going to be if you want to charge the customer for your engineer's time, your service person's time. To add a new one, we'll just go ahead and highlight right here, and then click the new button up here at the top left. This window will open here, and you have your usual, select the engineer that's going to be traveling. You have the invoice description, classifications. You have that invoice separately tick mark again right here. But at the bottom is going to be where you put in the travel start and end time and the labor start and end time. So the travel start and end time is going to, of course, log the travel time in between, or to get to and from the customer's location. If you choose not to wish to charge the customer for this, you can leave this blank. Otherwise, if you do, you just put in the times to and from, the travel time total, I should say here. So for example, let's say there was a total of 2 hours travel time. And then labor, of course, is the time spent doing the actual fix, the actual labor. And let's also say that's maybe 2 hours. We'll go ahead and hit OK right here. The time overlap. Whoops. Let's put it a little bit later. How about that? This might be related to another service contract that I already did. So let's put it towards tomorrow. Let's see how that works. I was doing a practice log earlier today, and so the must keep track of the engineer's time and what time's already been used. So as you can see down here, it'll pull in the actual time period, the number of minutes spent doing travel and labor, as well as the cost and the charge for each section. So these costs and charges are going to be set in admin under the user. If I can pull that up real quick over here. You have your travel cost and travel charge, what it's going to cost you, and what the customer is going to pay. Same thing with labor right here, and that's going to be set individually per user, of course. All right, so that's the engineer charge right here. Last but not least, you have a miscellaneous charge. This will be anything else that's not covered by maybe like a flat fee or the parts or engineer charge. This will be just a basic miscellaneous. If you need to charge for anything else, it's just a simple invoice description, cost and sell price, and then again, that invoice separately option right here as well. Let's just put something in here. There we go. And so that's everything. That's going to be all of your charges right here. Some additional tabs up top, outstanding linked logs up here is going to be any other CRS logs that are open for this customer and for this service contract that's linked here. Any item history is going to be any parts that have been used on other CRS logs for the same service contract, so you can keep a log of which parts have been used. And then otherwise, you have the report tab, which works, everywhere else in Prima. If we view the report, this CRS log is going to be just a description of everything that's been done, all the parts necessary, all the interim fixes that you applied, things like that. So this is not the invoice. This is just to give the customer as like a summary of what's been performed. And then at the bottom here, there is a place for the customer to sign their name and the engineer's signature as well. So once everything's been done, once you logged any parts and charges you need, once you have organized and set all the filters over here, what needs to be done is hit the completion method down here. So again, this is another filter to keep you organized, how the service contract was completed here, as well as the completion notes if there were any notes needed. And at the top, you have the option of in progress and complete. In progress is just going to be your intermediary status. So you can keep track of what's been handled so far and what's still in progress. Otherwise, when everything is complete, I'll just put something in here. We can just hit the complete button. Parts are still outstanding. Let's take a look over here. Maybe let's go on instead. We'll just make this a little bit easier. Not sure what that means actually, but we can go back to that. All right, well, normally it would just go ahead and hit complete up here. And let's say complete in the status up top. Let's see if we can take a look at another completed one. You can use the additional filters, look for a completed one to look at. Here we go. So of course, when it is completed, you'll just have the status completed up top, and you have the this reopen log button right over here. If we click on that, that'll open up a copy of this the CRS log with an X number. So this is going to be for if the customer calls back and says, this, the printer is acting up again, we need you to come back out. It'll open up a copy so you can go ahead and keep it organized. Otherwise, to take a look at your invoices, if we take invoice separately on the parts and charges, they're going to be linked in the links right here. They're going to be put on their own invoices right here. Otherwise, they're going to be billed on the next billing cycle for the service contract.